Number 23, BYU. Hoping to jump up a few more spots in those national rankings with a solid performance against West Virginia. Kickoff in just about 10 hours from right now at LaVell Edwards Stadium. 4-0 BYU trying to get to 5-0 for a second consecutive season. Can we just relish in that idea?
It's pretty awesome.
It is, isn't it?
Big 12 BYU is pretty cool.
Well, there are still some doubters, and there are many.
Who?
Not sure about if BYU is a legitimate contender for a Big 12 title.
I thought you meant about winning tonight.
Or if they're just, not so much about the game. But where does BYU kind of fit into the Big 12? And that factors into the conversation we begin with today, style points. How much do style points matter for BYU tonight? They are a 19.5-point favorite. Heavy favorites against West Virginia.
It depends what you want, Spence. I think for the BYU offense that huddles a ton and milks the clock and assesses at the line of scrimmage a lot and makes checks and things. I don't think BYU is this super explosive tempo offense. You can be explosive and not tempo, by the way. Those things are a little different. But with a true freshman quarterback, BYU diagnoses the line of scrimmage a little more than most teams. And tonight we've got a true freshman quarterback battle. As you see, Khalil Wilkins will get the start, his first start for West Virginia. He's thrown 6 passes. First start at LaVell Edwards Stadium on a short week, 2 times on his way. That's really tough. If you're talking about BYU climbing in the rankings and potentially trying to be in the college football playoff, then yes, those things matter because you need to be as high as possible. So if you lose, you don't drop as much as you would. But when it comes to this BYU team with a true freshman quarterback, I'm not worried about style points. I'm worried about just straight winning. Last week, we weren't worried about style points. I know West Virginia is perceived to be worse than Colorado. So you say, well, why not? And there's this big line. It was only 6.5 on the road for Colorado. It's 19.5 tonight. I don't think it matters. I think it's like last year's team. Style points didn't really matter for last year's team. It was just about winning those games. And they were 4-0 in one-score games, and they lost 2 in a row, and unfortunately lost a tiebreaker, weren't in position, as they should have been more, as we've chronicled, for an at-large. So I say, not really. This team isn't about style points. They're about taking care of the football, running the ball, and playing good defense.
So I'm recalling when BYU got to 9-0 last year that there was some discord about the Cougars not being ranked higher in the college football playoff poll. I believe they got to as high as number 6. And the argument on ESPN was, well, look at what they did against Oklahoma State, who hasn't won a game in the Big 12. They've survived. Look at what they did against Utah, who is not good this year. And I don't want to buy into style points that much tonight, but it kind of feels like it does matter a little bit if BYU's in that same conversation pushing forward. Who knows if BYU's going to be there?
I don't actually believe that BYU will be in that situation. I think they're going to be like a 9-3 regular season team that is competing for a title but not one of the tiebreaker teams. If they exceed that, that will surprise me. This offense is good, but there's been some notable injuries that are going to prevent BYU potentially from doing that. No JoJo Phillips, no Sione Moa is a big deal. They've been relatively healthy on the O-line, which is good. You still have a lot of playmakers. But I don't know that this team is as explosive or as high-end as last year's team, given the playmakers that you lost in Darius Lassiter and Keelan Marion, notably.
Yeah, and again, we have to wait and see what BYU does in the month of October.
Yeah, totally.
But if they are 7-1 at the end of October and they are in the top 14 and we're getting closer to the college football playoff poll.
If they're 7-1, Spence, they'll probably
top
be
12?
in the top. Yeah. They would be pushing top 10 depending on the wins. If they beat Texas Tech, for example, and shoot up to top team in the league and they stumble maybe at Iowa State in a close loss or something, BYU's going to be up there, man.
And I know I'm painting a hypothetical picture,
right?
But it's based on what happened last
year.
It's based on what happened last year.
Yeah.
So, style points. Yeah, I'm with you. Win the game. BYU had to beat Oklahoma State. They had to beat Utah. They had to beat Baylor. They did. They won those close games.
BYU survived at Colorado. Colorado's not a Big 12 contender.
Beat Colorado.
Yeah.
But if BYU is in a similar position that they were last year, if they don't dominate a team like West Virginia, that will come back. Well, they struggled against West Virginia and barely won against a bad team.
I don't know that BYU is a great team right now. I think they're a good to very good team. We're going to figure that out in the next couple of weeks. If they were a great team, then yes, style points matter. That's how you explode into the at-large conversation if you stumble is, well, they have this unbelievable offense. They've blown these fools out. I just think the way that BYU runs its offense will not lend itself to blowing a ton of people out by 30 points. I don't know that BYU hits 50. They have to be crazy efficient because they're not going to have as many possessions because they huddle so much. They're slower tempo. They're not going super slow on purpose, but because they just want to win.
They're holding the ball almost 34 minutes a game, which is top 10 in the country.
They had 20 minutes of possession of the 30 in the second half. Yeah, exactly. It's on purpose. It's to diagnose a play for your true freshman so he can see what's going on. He's so smart. Why would you hurry it up just to go fast? That's not the tempo here. So I think it's more about winning and less about style points. That doesn't mean I don't want style points. I would love tonight for BYU to win 40-3 and feel like, yeah, big offensive performance, dominated a team. BYU's not in the conversation as a kind of top 4 Big 12 team among a lot of national people. It's because of margin right now. If BYU had scored 2 more touchdowns in every game, they would be in that conversation. That's kind of the reason why, like, Iowa State is only in that conversation because they've had a couple of those, but also they've just won every game and they beat K-State initially. BYU doesn't have that SMU win from last year to sort of launch them into an interesting space yet. Just win for this team. It's a true freshman quarterback. I think that's an ask that is somewhat unrealistic, is style points all the time. Just keep winning.
I'll add this, and then we'll move on to more fun numbers that we're going to discuss specifically. It feels like BYU has more to lose tonight than they do to gain.
Amen.
Based on the quality of opponent.
Agreed.
And with style points in play.
Well, when you're a 19.5-point favorite, you're supposed to win by a bunch.
If you win 42-13, okay, right? But if you win 20-17, then it's like gulp.
Well, what did we say a couple of days ago? Beware the Oklahoma State situation.
Yeah.
But just win. Like, just win the game. Okay, let's get into more specifics, as you teased, in tonight's matchup by playing a little game of more or less.
I love it.
Bear Bachmeier, total offense tonight, is averaging 215 yards per game. Will he have more or less than 215 yards of total offense?
Jeremy, I think it has to be more tonight against a beleaguered and tired West Virginia team on a short week who were just humbled. And they were, not humbled, embarrassed on their home field a week ago against Utah. Now they're playing in Provo. I expect more from Bear Bachmeier, specifically in the passing game tonight. I think that West Virginia will challenge him to beat them with his arm. I think they'll try and shut down the run. They'll stack the box. Opportunities will be there for Bear to get really, really effective and explosive in the pass game. More. I feel very strong that there should be more than 215 total yards tonight from him.
I believe over as well, and I wrote that same thing. Explosive in the pass game a few times. I would love to see Carson Ryan, Cody Hagan, Chase Roberts, Parker Kingston down the field. And they did a nice job last week of not only pushing it, but drawing pass interference penalties. If you're going to go one-on-one with BYU's receivers, they do a nice job of getting open. So BYU's only had 2 pass plays of 40-plus this year. I would love to see a couple of those tonight.
Number 2, Bear Bachmeier still on topic. He carried the ball 15 times against Colorado last week. He was beat up, physical, gave it all. Will he have more or less than 15 carries tonight?
I hope it's less. This is not a game where you need Bear to be running all the time. And if West Virginia says, yeah, do it again, they're fools. Because Bear Bachmeier ran for 103 prior to that last, the last 2 carries or whatever. I say under.
If BYU has to have Bear Bachmeier run more than 15 times, then this game's weird.
Something weird happened.
This game is getting weird, and it's probably way closer than BYU fans want it to be, especially late in the game. So please, for the sanity.
Well, for the body of Bear.
The crowd and the BYU fans and Bear's physical state, please be fewer than 15 carries tonight.
Also, his name's Bear. We're still getting used to that. That's awesome, man. Nocioni Moa, second straight game. He averages 8 touches per game. That is, carries and catches. Will Preston Rex, Juvesta Dumuni, Enoch Nawahine, or Nawahines, as he was called last week, will have more or less than 8 combined touches?
I'm going with more here, and specifically because I feel like this game will be out of hand, and there will be more opportunities for this trio of players that you just mentioned to be on the field and do some more things.
Amen.
So that to me is number 1. Yeah, they'd be involved anyway because BYU needs the depth and they need to spell LJ Martin. But Rex Damuni, Nawahine, yeah, if it's not more than 8, then that too would shock me. Then it's like now BYU is probably having to rely on LJ Martin, Bear Bachmeyer too much because the game's weird and it's close and those guys are not on the field and they're not getting the ball. No, I need to see more from that trio.
And I want to see 12+, and I would like to not just see carries. I want to see some wiggle from DeMooney and Rex. They both have some speed. Rex grew up playing receiver.
They've got the burst. They've got that quick little burst.
Let's see what they can do. We haven't really quite yet.
All right, as we discussed yesterday, West Virginia prone to giving up big plays, one of the worst in the country. Tied for 106th in giving up 6 40-plus plays this season already. BYU, in contrast, has been explosive. The Cougars have 8 plays of 40-plus yards this season. We're going to take this number down to 30-plus specifically because that's still an explosive
Merely
play.
30.
Yeah, BYU has 9. West Virginia has given up 10. So will BYU have more or less than 3 plays of 30-plus yards?
I think they will have more than 3. I think that's an aggressive number. I think 3 probably on the dot would be my real guess. But, yeah, 7 of those 9 for BYU are on the ground, by the way. That's 4th in the country.
Crazy.
7 on the ground. West Virginia has allowed 10 plays of 30-plus. That's 90th in the country. So they allow explosive plays. They did a bunch against Pitt and Utah specifically. I think BYU gets down the field in the run game and the pass game. I would love to see it in the pass game a little more, though. And this was one of those, right? Nice play by Chase Roberts, some yak at ECU. He had the 41-yard catch against Stanford. Let's see Cody Hagan in the pass game. We've seen what he can do on a, 52 and 32-yard tornado reverse touchdowns. Yes. Amazing that his 2 touches, his 2 carries, are both touchdowns. He went all the way. Great blocking and that super speed enabled.
Oh, so well designed by Aaron Roderick, too, because we've talked about this before. Aaron, he will show a look and go back to it again, and the defense starts to think, okay, if they do this, if they line up this way, if this guy motions this way, they're going to do something, and then bang!
He sets it up for later.
Tornado reverse.
Yep.
Love that. I'm going more here tonight. I think there are going to be a lot of reasons for this crowd to get loud and to be loud often. I don't think it's going to be like an exorbitant, number. It's not going to be like 6 plays of 30-plus yards. But I'm leaning over here. Yeah, if we're talking 30-plus.
4 would be
4 would be awesome.
4 would be pretty good.
Wow.
In 3 games against FBS teams this season, BYU's offense has scored 25, 27, 24. Again, offense. So will the BYU offense be responsible for more than 26 points tonight?
I hope so.
We include the PATs of those scores. Yeah.
I hope so. I know that maybe the defense scores a touchdown. Maybe there's a special teams touchdown, and so the offense can gear down if they're in control. Let's say it's 31-3 in the fourth quarter, going into the fourth quarter, and
nice.
There's a defensive touchdown or a special teams touchdown. It's like, okay, let's just control the clock. Let's run the ball. We'll kick another field goal. It's all good.
That's what BYU does with a big lead in the fourth.
I'm selfish in this. I want more tonight. I want to see BYU's offense specifically be responsible for 30 points tonight. Okay? And then add on whatever the special teams and defense do. So I'm leaning more with BYU back in their home digs for the first time in a month. They're feeling good.
That's weird.
They're feeling good. They haven't been here since early September.
Yeah, I would like BYU to be super efficient on offense. If they have fewer drives than normal because they huddle and they run so much, I still want to see 35-plus against this West Virginia team. This is a wounded animal. They have 70 transfers. They have injuries. They're leading quarterback, running back, receiver. They're not playing tonight. This is an opportunity for BYU to really take it to West Virginia. And, oh, by the way, as I've mentioned, BYU owes West Virginia one. 2016 and 23, BYU lost. They do. This would be the first win against the Mountaineers. Come on! Tonight's the night.
All right. We've reported this a few times. West Virginia is going to start redshirt freshman Khalil Wilkins, his first career start, and he's doing it on the road.
This is a challenge for him tonight.
Mountaineers have played either 2 or 3 quarterbacks in every single game this season. Oh,
that can mean you're way up or way down,
So
they've been way down most of the time.
Yikes! It's been tough to say the least. The number we're settling in on here right now for more or less is: will we see more or less than 2.5 West Virginia quarterbacks play tonight?
I'm going under. Scotty Fox Jr. was on the injury report list. Maybe he plays if Khalil Wilkins doesn't have it, or it's a blowout or whatever. But I mean, if this is remotely close, you'd think Khalil Wilkins is got. I'll go under. I think it's 1 or 2.
Under. Does West Virginia even have 3 healthy quarterbacks to play?
Yeah. What the heck?
It's a real question. Do they even have 3 that could play?
I still think BYU wins this convincingly, even if it's full bore West Virginia. right? And let alone banged up West Virginia, so that's crazy.
Yeah, under.
Yeah. BYU defense caused lots of havoc for its opponents, combining for 17 sacks and a bunch of takeaways so far this season. Will the Cougar defense have more or less than 5 combined sacks and takeaways tonight?
So this may surprise you, but I'm actually going to go fewer. I don't think West Virginia is going to have the ball that much. I think BYU is going to maintain possession for a lot of this game. There will be fewer drives, so it's not because BYU's defense isn't good or capable and won't want to thrive in the backfield and create all that havoc. I just don't think West Virginia is going to be able to run that many plays. So that
they'll try. They go tempo. That
naturally means fewer possessions for BYU's defense to come up with sacks, takeaways, tackles for loss. So I'm actually going to go just under that. I'm going to say 4, maybe 1 turnover and 2 sacks. I'm right there. Jeremy. I don't know. Maybe you feel very differently.
I do, actually. I think West Virginia is going to play from behind, pass it a lot, and throw errant throws a lot. So
okay.
I have north of 5. So I think I see like 2 or 3 picks. I see 2 or 3 sacks. Yep.
You see 2 or 3 picks.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, if they're playing from behind and they have to pass a bunch, they're down 17 in the second quarter or something.
Yeah,
they feel like they can't just kind of run the same stuff. Although they go tempo, they'll go quick. But give me Tanner Wall, give me Raider DeMooney, and give me Jack Kelly for interception.
I think it's going to be harder to get sacks because they do like to get the ball out quick. But we'll see.
If no one's open, you hold that ball. You're asking for it, man.
Okay. Bear Bachmeier and the BYU offense have yet to turn it over this season, which is unbelievable through 4 games.
Crazy.
So will the offense have more or less than 0.5 giveaways? Essentially, do you think they're going to turn it over tonight?
And to clarify, the 1 giveaway was on special teams, so the offense has not.
None.
Right?
None.
I go 1. I think they do finally give it away 1 time. That's not crazy to think in a football game they might give it away 1 time.
There will be a deflection.
There will be something
a weird bounce, something.
Maybe it's a fumble from a backup running back, whatever. You hope not, right? But it's not crazy to think that it's actually crazier to think they won't turn it over again. And then they would.
5 games with no turnovers?
That's crazy.
Holy cow.
Just 1 accident, 1 tipped ball, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just to be different, I'm going to say no. Yeah, I think this narrative will continue through 5 games. Like the offense still hasn't turned it over.
I mean, that's crazy if that happens. And finally, with BYU being a heavy favorite, will BYU cover the margin of 19.5, more or less than 19.5?
That's a big number.
It is a big number.
It is a big number. I'm leaning just over. This to me feels like a 34-13 type game, and that would be a 21-point margin, so I'm going to go just over.
Yeah, I think the BYU defense holds WVU down and goes north of this. Yeah.
Okay, our question of the day. Back to style points. How much do those style points matter for BYU tonight as the aforementioned 19.5-point favorites in this contest against West Virginia? At BHW32 on Instagram answers 100% it matters. Show the world who BYU is, shut out, and rack up the points.
Here's why a shutout's not likely. Jay Hill wants to get his backup experience, and those backups have to keep that shutout. It's hard. Stanford had 2 good drives. They got a field goal out of it. ECU kind of did this late in the game. If it's not like a tight game, you don't get to the 3s ever. Jay plays the 2s quite a bit on this team, so everybody gets a lot of experience, and they stay fresh and healthy and not winded out there. So I don't know. A shutout would be incredible. I don't see it, though.
Weigh in on X, Facebook, and Instagram to join that conversation.
Here's the schedule for tonight. 8:30 Eastern pregame coming up on BYU TV and BYU Radio. The game's on ESPN and BYU Radio at 10:30 Eastern time. Sorry to the East Coasters. Get a nap in. Post-game coverage on BYU TV and BYU Radio right after the game.
It's a Friday night. Come on, you stay up late. All good.